Hello, I'm Johanna Rae, and this is writer-director Sandy Chukhdarian of Psychos, and we are on the 13th Wolfman tonight. Hello.
Hey everybody, I'm the 13th Wolfman. You know, I have with me today, I have the director, the writer, and producer of Psychos, Sandy
Chukhdarian.
I have it written down over here. I was going to try and say it right. So Chukhdarian.
Cool.
And of course, Johanna Rae is back. She was on the show before with All Through the House, and she's now back. So it's welcome back and welcome, Sandy.
Thank you.
So you put out this movie, Psychos. It took you a while to, from you were saying from first word to final cut, 3 years.
Yeah, it was a short shooting duration, but lots of post-production and lots of pre-production in terms of writing it. And just to get it, just those little elements of the element of surprise or the twists, just in case someone goes back to watch it and says, okay, they got all, it's watchable in a succinct kind of way.
What do you think the most grueling part of that 3 years was of making this movie?
That is such a hard question.
Well, I had some moments. I actually hired editors to take on the project to edit, and I had I had a really good editor, but he works for the studios, and he's not into this low budget indie, and he took on a lot of the I want to say dailies, but not dailies, but just the assembly edit, leaving huge gaps, and he was taking a long time, so I hired another guy, a young guy, fresh out of school. He promised me the world, and I believed him because I'm an optimist, and he didn't deliver squat, but he still wanted to get paid. And then I had to, cut those ties. And then I hired someone, good age, and he didn't know what he was doing. And I was like, okay, I got to take this on myself. I didn't want to do it.
Well, the only problem is I'm not a filmmaker, but I can visualize what the problem is here is that you wrote this movie, you directed this movie, you know the story, you know the assembly, and they're not putting together the story that's in your head.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even, we hadn't even gotten to that point. We were just having some technical issues, inexperience, not being able to be skilled enough to take on just the completed assembly, working with audio, working with time code, and following the script as much as you could. We had proper, editorial elements to work with. But then when I did take it on, the narration, the editing to create an interesting narration to follow the script, that was really hard, really, really time consuming.
Yeah. Well, I told you on the other show, I love editing my videos. It's kind of a fun thing to do. Mm-hmm. If you ever watch any of my videos from when I'm in the Doom room, which is the room that's what I call my room that I have all my movies in. It's just everything. It's all my, my King Kong poster, all the crazy movies behind me. And if you could see all the way around, you'd see just, a crazy amount of movies. But I do a 1950s, 1960s pop-in. Like what they did on Genie or Bewitched, where boom, And it was something when I first started editing, I was like, okay, this is something I've seen 1,000 times. I know how they did it. Yeah. I have to try it. And then I just, I love it. I love doing it, man. It's, it works really well.
Yeah. I guess also audio helps with that kind of editing too, right?
I found that out. Yeah. That was like one of the first things I'm like, oh.
It's like a 52% of it, almost like 55% of it is audio. Without it, it's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because I was like, when I first started doing it, I was using Windows Movie Maker, and I didn't have the capacity to put my own music in. or my own sound effects in. So it was just me popping in, and it looked cool. But then when I got my editing software, I'm like, oh, hey, look, it comes with sound effects. Put that right there. You just said it. It added 52% better to that. You know.
I mean,
oh my God,
more
editing.
than half.
Yeah,
More than
editing's
half.
like
Yeah.
wow, editing's so much.
Yeah, it is. That was really difficult. I had assistance with the first AD and producer Angel Jimenez Jr. With the production, so that went kind of quickly and easily.
I think every stage of making the film, you have a huge hurdle, especially when you're not working doing this indie film. You do it on a limited budget. A limited budget creates so many problems.
Yeah, you have to know everything.
First of all, you have to write your story around your budget almost. You have to tweak it. And that was a lot of what I had to do. Like if you have $1 million, there's so many things you can do, like different than we could have done with this. Well, I'm going to say $100 million.
There were just a few things that I did technically in post-production that I did pay for. And one of them was color correction, which my computer is not, the script, the monitor's not right. I work in post-production in LA here. So I knew that was like a field where I needed equipment to, because once it goes even to the digital VOD route, and we don't have broadcast standards anymore. Technically, we don't. Even though they tried to impose those on you, like iTunes and Amazon. It still needs to have like the blacks, a certain level of the video, I did pay for that. There were some other elements that I did pay for, but mostly I did most of the post-production myself. And it was just like, all right, I'm done with the sound. The M&E's done. So it was
she worked very hard. And she had her own on her own. It was crazy.
It's just, constant.
So Johanna, you had what, like 3 days of shooting on here?
No, I shot for 1 day on this, and that's the interesting thing about film. You can shoot 1 day and you spread it just depends on where the parts play. But for me, I was there in the beginning with the script, and I was doing another project, and when Sandy was done, I came in a lot to we met with different people for advice. We had other people it's been a long, after you're done shooting the film, the post-production, I think in getting the film out is just as hard as before. It's crazy. It's insane. It's like you can shoot the film, but then you have all this other work you have to do afterwards. It's a long process.
It's probably, the harder part of the whole thing is I have enough indie filmmakers that come on here that talk about, how great it is making their movie, but they also say the hardest thing is getting the movie out so where everyone gets to see it.
Yeah, that is.
I almost I was like, I can't do it. I'm done. Like when those guys, when someone's on their deathbed and you're like, oh, come on. If it's a matter of will and spirit, come on, you can live some more days.
Yeah, really.
I can't do it. And then, you recoup and you see how far you've come and how close you are. Except that close is almost like 6 months away, and you didn't realize it.
I think one of the most frustrating parts for me is when someone comes in and is like, "Oh, I can help you with this, this, and this," and then you get your hopes really high, and you're like, "Okay, that's really awesome." You see right whenever you think it's all over, you're getting nowhere. Someone will come in and say they're going to do this, and they can help, and you see the light again, and 9 times out of 10.
Yeah,
there's no light.
It's either not the help you need or not the help you want.
Right, but then at the same time, you learn something from it. So this film in particular, as a producer, which I'm an actress first, I came as a producer. There's so many things that I've learned as a producer, and this was Sandy. She directed it, she wrote it, she produced it, she freaking carried this thing for the last 3 years herself, and it's just amazing how much you learn. And you can accomplish, and you realize that, to me, I've realized a lot of people out there that say they can help you, you probably know more than they do at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's
one thing I've learned on this is it's an interesting world with the filmmaking. It's like,
and nobody wants to, you know, the funny thing is, as many filmmakers, indie filmmakers as there are nowadays, nobody wants to share their experience. And in my DVD bonus feature, I do talk about a lot of my beginning of like the pre-production experience, and then kind of into the post-production time. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I'm not talking about, oh, it was hard. I'm talking about the logistics, talking about it, you know?
I've had a few people on that have talked about this. You're right about that, though. I've had a few people on that talk about it, but they don't want to talk about it on the record.
Yeah.
They're like, they'll tell you behind the scenes, and they'll say, oh, yeah, well, this is the toughest thing, or this, you know, the hardest thing about distribution is this. And you're like, oh, wow, that, you know, but are we recording? No.
Yeah.
Psych.
No.
It is very interesting. It's like you do come across a lot of people that want to get on board, but at the same time, maybe their reason for getting on board is not exactly what they say. A lot of people are looking, well, what do they got going that I don't have, or what's this? What am I going to get out of this?
Right.
And then when they find out, like, oh, they got the information they needed, they kind of bail and they don't help, or they're like, well, they're not going to be a part of it the way they want it to be. So you come across, I think the post after the movie's done, it's just a different world.
Yeah.
Altogether.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one interesting thing that Sandy, you could take away from this is that your next movie is not going to take 3 years to make.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is such a great experience.
You've now crossed all the hurdles and climbed all the stairs you needed to, and so you know what some of the quickest ways of doing it are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It is the biggest learning curve. Yeah. I swear.
And also, if someone's not doing something right, I know that they might not be, because I know the technical side of it. You know, it's a highly technical job, you know, to get all the work done. And I have touched every single kind of aspect of it. I even tried to do color correction. It was just I didn't know if I was like, I don't even know. I can see the scopes, but I don't know if it's right because my monitor's not calibrated.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of people don't give credit to all the post-production talent that makes a film look great, with the sound, the editing, the special effects. Those people, and good ones, change your film. Like they make it. They're so important.
Sound. I said it 1,000 times. Sound is the most important thing.
Yep.
Sound and editing. I swear, a great editor and great sound. Like, I mean, what is this movie? Mad Max, the woman that won the Oscar. I watched that the other day, and I was just like, the editing on that was amazing.
That's great.
Yeah. If you don't, I mean, I've seen some horror films where they have no idea what they're doing, where they just say, okay, come on in here, say your line, and we're going to play some music, and so they got the music playing, Anthrax or something's playing, and it's like blaring, and then people are saying their lines. You're like, okay, I have no idea what they said. You could have keyframed the whole thing with the music and brought it down a little bit. I actually know keyframing. I learned it a few weeks ago, actually, so I'm proud of that. But you could have brought it down a little bit so we could hear what they're saying. But no, you want to hear spreading the disease, and we're not going to hear what they're saying at all.
Yeah. Sound is crazy important. And for me, I think too, like the way the director and the DP do the shots, like I can't stand a film where it's just like big wide angles the whole time. It's like I want to get into the character, and that's where the actor really takes you on the story. And I want to see like I don't need to hear too much dialogue all the time. So that too, it's every element is like so important.
Oh yeah, no, I get that too. I mean, you got to have this plate, you got to have the scenes lit right, you got to have the camera done right, and you got to have the sound done right. But I mean, you're right that not everybody gets the credit that they deserve. I'm always in awe of people like Sandy, John Carpenter, those guys I kid you not. John Carpenter, I mean, he did everything. He produced, he directed, he wrote, he did sound.
He did everything on this film was crazy.
Yeah.
Other than that. And
You
Sandy's
are
mother catering.
Yeah, last minute, like, we got everything, all the budget taken care of except for catering. It's like, what?
yeah, so you're what they would refer to as a Renaissance woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she had to, there was gluten-free, nut-free, what other kind of free menu
Fat
people,
free.
she did it.
I know. I'm like super proud of Sandy to do this. Like, it's so hard to.
But I wouldn't have started it if she hadn't taken that script and read it and said, "You got to do this." I mean, this is like
I was definitely like cheerleading. Like there was
I-
many points where Sandy's like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "No, you can do this."
She's a cheerleader, and she comes up with some amazing ideas and a muse to a lot of people. Like if she was absent from a lot of people, including my life, I think we would there would be a huge deficit, an artistic kind of drought.
But I look forward to Sandy has like 2 or 3 script ideas, and she's already scripts for zombies one, and then the one, what is this other one about the Moy
Y Tu Mama Tambien. It's a sexy kind of, again with a twist at the end, but a Y Tu Mama Tambien twist. More of a drama kind of, right? Drama.
Yeah, drama.
Not a thriller so much, but something like that, with maybe Johanna as the lead.
But she has great ideas coming forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing her next film, which she has a budget. And like has like just the elements of all this learning curve.
It really doesn't matter about, like it is affordable. You can get a digital camera, you can get an iPhone, but it's not about the camera, even though that has become more like affordable and consumer ready. It's, and when I chose the DP, there were a flurry of, I have a Red, I have a 4K, blah, blah. But it was the DP who had her own camera, and there was a 2K, is the same camera as that was used in Slumdog Millionaire. So it was a 2K. And because I work coming from the digital world, we get a lot of footage that was 4K red, and we get to see it like, this looks cool. And we have little theaters there, so seeing it projected. And one of the things was 4K. Why do you need 4K? Are you going to just project it in a huge screen? No. At the most, like an art house kind of scenario, 2K is fine for that. And then everything else is going to be digital. I mean, I know they make those huge TVs now, but it's going to be fine. But it's knowing how to use the camera, not just turning it on and shooting it. That's what impressed me. And you can see that it's low budget, but the cinematography is pretty nice, right?
Now we have the trailer for Psychos.
Yay.
Would you like to introduce it? Either one of you?
Psychos, revenge flick with a little blood, psychological thriller. When 3 women get an anonymous video, they plan to go back to the house where they were held captive and seek revenge upon the captor.
Into the camera. Where did you get the video from?
Somebody sent it to me.
Who?
I don't know.
You realize you could be walking into a trap.
Somebody's calling out to us with those videos. We're not just gonna sit back and let it go by again. We're gonna find that house, and we're gonna end this chapter in our lives once and for all.
And that is Psychos. Well, I could talk to you all night. you and I are on West Coast time. Leo, who is recording this, is on East Coast time.
What city are you?
I'm up in Washington State.
Okay.
I'm near Seattle, so.
So you're not hitting, the blizzard hasn't hit you.
No. And the rain doesn't bother me either.
I know.
So Sandy, when people are looking for you on the internet, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Filmmaker, F-E Filmmaker, or Sunset Boulevard Films at Twitter, which is the site for the film, and also on Facebook at Psyhcos. I think I have a private account on Facebook, so they have to kind of go and find me at Sandy Chukhdarian on Facebook. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And of course, Johanna.
I am on Twitter at the Johanna Rae. I am on Facebook, Johanna Rae, and I'm on Instagram, Johanna Rae 21. So, and I just want to say one last thing. People like Sandy, filmmakers, they also help find great new talent. If she wasn't making an independent film and finding people that were unknown, there's so many you filmmakers out there that are independent filmmakers. You guys are like the heavens for us unknown people, because you guys give the opportunity that otherwise, if it was a studio film, they would just give it to someone that already has the resume. So Sandy is a famous person that they help find, like, discover new people all the time. If it wasn't for these filmmakers.
Well, yeah, that's so true. I mean, some of the bigger name filmmakers nowadays start out as indies. You know, Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith. Then you got Todd Nunes.
Todd Nunes, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. He turned me on to Johanna and Ashley and Lido and the rest of the crew, and a lot of others. I mean, James Balsamo gave us Sarah Martin. I mean, so yes, and of course, Sandy, who gave us Johanna and Danielle and
another actress who couldn't make it tonight, Angelica Chitwood.
Yeah, she's very talented.
Among other leads. They did a phenomenal. Without the actors, the film wouldn't be what it is. They really brought their A game. They made it. That's it.
Well, again, ladies, I want to thank you again for coming on Sit Down. You know, it's been a pleasure. I love sitting down and talking to people that like to talk about movies. That's just my thing. But,
yeah.
You know,
endless conversation.
I'm gonna go see the new King Kong movie. I heard Logan was really good.
Logan was really good.
Yeah.
Oh.
So for Sandy,
yes,
and Johanna, I'm the 13th Wolfman. Now I'm on the prowl.
Thank you for having us.
Bye. Thank you.